She was found guilty. Oh, I missed. I guess you guys have been talking. I didn't see anybody waiting for the stream, and right now, the live is telling me I have nobody, even though people were just commenting. So this is the live for y'all. I have nobody on here. I'm gonna reset the stream. Yo, the process. What's up, dude? How are you guys talking right now? My screen right now is telling me I have no. Oh, there's 6. Okay, we are alive. Terry Malone, Observe Paranoid, Hashish. What's up? Happy Brew Year, good one. Mutton Wolf. Hey, hi Malone. What's up, brother? Hey, much love, y'all. Hey, Clay, Thaddeus Shoneman. That's a good one. What's up? We are live. Okay. Oh my goodness. This is crazy. It was just doing it again where nobody was my screen was telling me nobody was here. So, anyway, thanks y'all. I have to stop and say thank you guys because everyone that showed up right now, y'all are my true supporters. Y'all have heard me yak my mouth off about being the tree in the forest that falls and nobody hears, and without y'all, that would be this right now. So I have to thank y'all. Keep public lands open. What's up? The process, Jamie Claude. What? Yeah, hey, yes. Thanks y'all. Carlos Esperanza. Yeah, happy New Year, bro. Yes. So I much love to y'all. Thank you so much. I have to stop the introduction because people are. It's been a minute and a half already, and like everybody that was mildly interested in this is already gone. So let me catch up with you guys, y'all, in a second because I have some amazing updates for y'all, and it's we set like a yard full of traps for the judge, the presiding judge right now, Judge Maiden Spocker. And the way we set that up for him for public viewing is we went and had secured our own stenographer to show up to court here, this pretrial motions hearing on Wednesday, so that we can get verbatim reporting presented to you, the public, on my motion to disqualify Judge Maiden Spocker due to pedophile connections. So I got into my last live stream a little bit towards the end. I don't know if y'all missed it, but Judge Maiden Spocker is a retired judge. And the way Pennsylvania works is not every judge is elected that can sit on the bench. Like they hold retired judges like in a reserve inactive status so that they can activate them in case there's a case overload, or in Pennsylvania's case, pedophile connections. Like they have a crony that needs to get away from some pedophile charges and whatnot. And that's what this dude is. He's like the guy in Pennsylvania to do this stuff. And that's why they appoint him all the bum cases. Like I said, he's a retired judge. He's only gets appointed to like these awful rot gut cases. So when I motioned whether if y'all can attend in person or whatever they were saying, apparently I got secured a stenographer to go attend. So y'all be able to read my questions to this judge on him testifying is the preference for preferentially charging pedophiles, being a Pennsylvanian, So basically, what's going on is this guy's a piece of shit. He's not, again, he's a appointed judge. He's the guy in Pennsylvania that gets appointed for all these cases. Case in point, right at the tail end of his career, he gave one guy in his county 32 years of probation for like 20 years worth of family 7 to 14-year-old sexual assaults. This guy got like less than 2 years in prison so they could just keep him in the county jail and do like work release and whatever and just, let him fall under the radar. And then gave him 32 years of probation. It's for like 13 child touching felonies. Like that's what this guy does. So as that ties in to even more interlace all the Pennsylvania pedophile protectors, we actually accidentally covered this guy before twice involving 2 cases of pedophilia, preferably charging Pennsylvania pedophiles, and which makes him a Pennsylvania pedophile protector. So the next one is we actually did a report, and that's it's bizarre, man. So our Senator Michael Fulmer, he's like in the next district over. He got caught with what we know of. He had in the bank pled guilty to 4 different federal charges of possessing child pornography, and like for 10 years, it's got to be some pretty egregious stuff. It's not just like, picture, not saying that that's nothing, but the years amount of time doesn't add up unless it's something egregious like video. You know what I mean? You know what I'm getting at? and he was guilty on all 4 of those charges and pled guilty. That's 10 years apiece. And this judge was activated by Supreme Court Chief Justice Max Baer that just threw Bill Cosby out of jail in the public's best interest. Serial rapist Bill Cosby out of jail in the public's best interest for due to prosecutorial overreach, to protect us from prosecutorial overreach. So that's how bad Pennsylvania is. And that's what Judge Maiden Spocker's namesake is left to. So it's, you're like, well, why do you have all this penchant for preferably, sentencing pedophiles in Pennsylvania? And it's bizarre. But in lieu of that, we actually did an investigation on that case for Senator Fulmer, and that's tied into the real estate racket and how he got here, because they used the local economic councils and whatnot to channel federal funds, and that's part of the racket and the suppression that's going on. How Pennsylvania keeps pedophile politicians. I got to make more peas up, all right? I got to get a grab bag of peas to throw out here. And that's what's going to happen in the trial. I got it written. I actually linked this motion to disqualify him for this down below. It should already be up. I did the link. It's a pretty funny motion. It's bizarre. And it's legitimate because it brings up a lot of points that I'm going to have to get to ask this judge in court on the record. So that's one trap to it. There's actually a bunch of traps I'm not going to mention because he gets to choose which one he gets to walk into, but there's no way out. He's messing with a sapper, man. We engineered the battlefield. This dude's so old and slow, I'm putting traps underneath his feet as he takes a step backwards. So anyway, we actually covered that Senator Michael Fulmer thing and how it all ties in with the pedophile and all that. And he was the one that ends up getting appointed by these same guys to wipe and hide this case. All right, so that's not all. That's a tie-in right there. All right, so this is a lot. So already I could motion to disqualify the guy. So then, funny enough, the second tie-in to a pedophile racket that we were talking about with this judge is the real estate racket that we were just covering. That's why we got arrested. We got arrested for attending the Ratowski divorce, which exemplifies the real estate racket. If you guys look down in my triple Lindy motion, it shows you where they do the bank fraud, where they do the deed fraud, where they pull the bank loan out on that fake deed that they hide to pay for a house so that the president of the county bar can rob a house out from under her clients and keep it off the record. That's just the start of it. That's just why we were there covering that. However, that was just one facet of our investigations on this channel, and our earliest video of last year 220. Well, anyway, it's a police scandal, missing child rape kit pictures, blah blah blah. They did that. They threw out a local Chomo case. They lost all the evidence, or they threw out all the evidence, and then they lost the actual physical pictures of the child sexual assault exam, so that there would be no charges. They couldn't charge him with anything because it was about to go to jail, or it was about to go to trial up next county. They would have lost control of it. So they threw out all the charges locally, they threw out all the evidence locally so that they could throw the charges locally. And that's President Judge Michael George. That's the guy I've been following. And they did that to protect the real estate racket because one of the big names in there was one of our housing directors, right, that went down, investigated for HUD fraud, that President George's son picked up as defendant or as representation, right? They locked down all the housing stuff in the county and held secret meetings through the Sunshine Act. So they made it all legal and all go away. And that's what we were covering as press. And that is literally what the case we are trying to attend. If you read the triple Lindy motion, we're trying to attend this trial where they weaponized the bar, the clerk of common, the Adams County Common Courts facilitate this real estate and bank fraud. And it's all down there in the motion, drew reproduction of the record, blah, 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 blah. And that's what we were trying to attend as press. And that's why we were arrested. So we remember on that channel, we've been following that for a while. That was when I went to the courthouse dressed as Joe Exotic, and they deleted my hearing. I wasn't allowed to hear for the first half hour that President of the County Bar, Barbara Entwistle, was testifying. That was the judge. Judge Maidenspacher was the judge they installed. So I already know this guy's MO, man. And he's doing the same exact thing. He was facilitating that fraud. He signed off. His name is on the site. If you look back at my community page from like May, for sale of farm bill for the home, he's the one that did that. His name is on it. He's the guy that facilitated and wrote off on all this fraud. So, like, how in the shit does this dude, what's up, the man? How in the shit does this dude get appointed to my case when I'm arrested for, all the judges in the county recuse this case, and then this guy gets appointed to hide all that racket that I'm investigating his press. That my whole defense is that this is a veiled attack on my First Amendment rights to free press to cover this real estate racket, and they put the same judge that hit it in charge of my thing. So, okay, the way this guy works is he did the same thing in the Ratowski divorce case to facilitate that fraud by the Court of Common Pleas. And the way that he did that was he had all this info filed, all these motions, all this. There was an appeal that they could pull from that went to Superior Court that they hid. I mean, it was just everything dotted T's. This is where they did this, and this is where they did this, and this is where they did this, and this is the false deed, and this is this. And he just ignored it and forced through a judgment and just, all right, but just let it go up on appeal. Like, that is the guy that did that. He wouldn't hear anything before court. So when it came to trial, they held as much as they could behind the bench off the record, which they scheduled ahead of time with the president of the county bar and facilitated by President Judge George, because he like allowed one guy to testify when no one else was allowed to. I wasn't allowed to go in and testify. It was just the craziest absolute setup in the world, and Judge Maidenspacher facilitated it all. So, like, that's another reason to disqualify this guy. Like, why Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Max Baer, put this guy in charge of my case, knowing all this stuff, is just the most bizarre thing. And it shows like they're complicit. And when I got into my triple Lindy motion, where the judge that's like dirty that approved the warrant to wipe my phone, and it turns out like, well, that guy owed the state a favor because he tried to kill 3 people by drinking and driving and like walked away from it unarrested, and preferentially charged and all hidden and all that. But anyway, that's probably something that's going on with Judge Maidenspacher too. And that's the way, that's why this dude gets activated to do all these awful cases, to hide all this Pennsylvania protected pedophiles. preferentially charge Pennsylvania protected pedophiles. That's a whole bunch of people. Say that 5 times fast. So anyway, it's all a good time. And I have a list of questions that I can ask this judge, like, just so messed up on the record. That's legitimate questions. Like, my channel is pretty tough. We're very highly critical of pedophiles and Pennsylvania pedophile protectors. Will that influence your decision on the bench? Like, yeah, I got a grab bag of them. And I put a couple in the motion and just, I put stuff in the motion to make it look, but it's actually pretty funny. I write all these motions to get read because the state's just going to hide this. They're just going to throw me in jail regardless. So we might as well get a couple laughs out of it, and it might promote itself if it's a good book to get published. So I'm putting all this stuff in a book together, and I'm trying to get it published, which I think it'd be great because you could like link to the exhibits, with a little QR code and boom, 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 boom. So, and like I have, that triple Indy motion is like 90 pages written. So like people could, PPPP, what's up, Terry? Thanks for distracting me, man. You're a true friend. Thanks, Terry. Good to see you, buddy. Okay, so moving on to following the racket. Yeah, that's our whole case. This state is, these are retaliatory charges for following the real estate racket perpetrated by the county in this Ratowski divorce, which is the one that they changed all the rules for me to try to attend as press and why I got arrested. I'm telling you, that motion's good, man. That motion's good. Yeah, and then, like I said, I know this judge from following that and how he hid everything in the Ratowski divorce. So I know what's coming, and that's why I wanted to set these traps for him. If he decides to go, he can walk any way he wants, but anywhere he wants is going to be into a trap that's laid. And one of them is definitely, it's going to be an entertaining hearing. And I have my own stenographer present because if you remember my last time that, I don't know, some of you got to attend the last hearing I had with Judge not Maidenspacher, Maslin. He wouldn't allow me to talk. Like I brought all these exhibits of my attorney working against my wishes, like for the attorney general, following directives for the attorney general to waive my rights, and he wouldn't even allow me to talk about it on the court record. Like he'd interrupt, and the Zoom feed commander would flip, or we blah, 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 or they'll say it's like not relevant to the case or the charges at hand. And that's what this motion, this hearing on Wednesday at 10 a.m. in the Adams County Courthouse is about. It's a pretrial motions hearing. I put a whole bunch of motions, as y'all remember, like dismissed due to lawlessness and all this other stuff. But it's like what the jury's going to allow to be heard and seen. And the attorney general motioned to suppress that illegal search warrant that she put on my phone, because it just shows how bad the state is doing this. And any judge that's overseeing this case, that's facilitating this fraud, is going to allow that. So that's why I worked so hard. I didn't even really start working on my case until I got Maidenspacher or Maslin disqualified, right? So that's why I've been silent past couple months, because I really had to prove my case, and I feel like it did down in that triple Indy motion. So now we're just having like fun gags and follow-ups about it, and so that's that. Finishing up, y'all, and I'll take questions. Oh yeah, dude, I totally missed this. So that was like one. We actually filed two motions to disqualify. One was like legit that I had to get on the record before I knew that I had that stenographer there, and then the other one was just this bonkers one, that or gonzo one, that I know is once I have my stenographer there to prove what's going on. So the first one was that judge did issued a order before he had jurisdiction. So like it was the day before my trial, judge wasn't assigned. So like somebody told this guy, hey, you gotta stay this trial because he's gonna show up tomorrow. He's gonna be the only one that goes to it, and blah 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 blah. So he went and he ruled on that on October 8th. Well, the problem with that is that he's not installed until October 12th. The Supreme Court Chief Justice Max Baer does not assign him until 5 days later. So he has no jurisdiction to make a ruling. And funny enough, if y'all would believe it, the one time that complete and total like bench and judicial immunity does not work is if you make a ruling outside of your jurisdiction. And like there's actually insurance for it now, because in the past 20 years this has come up enough that the Supreme Court's actual federal Supreme Court has ruled that they are not protected by immunity in that. So we got him already. Like if he thought he was gonna get away with this, he would have already recused himself for that. So obviously he's showing up to do the same thing he did for that for sale of the farm. That if Mr. Rotowski didn't sign it, he approved the clerk of courts to sign it, or like the prothonotary to sign it, just so it would go. So anyway, yes, but oh, they have a bond. Yes, I know what you're talking about. But this is a retired judge, and he's from a different county. So is he still bonded? And is he bonded in Adams County? So it's like two more tricks. So anyway, like regardless of how he rules, and if I go to jail, like a great idea would be to start a GoFundMe for civil suit. And like I don't want any money out of it, but just to like hold this judge accountable, because I got 2 years from after he's done this and besides, it was to facilitate this fraud. This dude already knows all about the Rotowski case, the one that I'm covering as press, because he was presiding and facilitating it. So it's like there's so many conflicts of interest and this is all on the court record. And obviously this guy is here to fix this. And he's not here to fix it like pedophiles, like he fixes the pedophile case. Like his reasoning for lightly sentencing Senator Fulmer, who's tied into all this stuff, and that's why he was in the Pedo investigation video for real estate fraud and everything. The reason for giving him less than 2 years instead of 40, which was automatically, he pled guilty to 40 years. His reason for giving him less than 2 years was that, oh, he's been civic-minded and he's done a whole bunch of stuff for the community and blah, blah, blah. Like, here's me getting stabbed from the community and I'm going to go to jail for it. It just completely doesn't make sense. Brought to you by pedophile-protecting Pennsylvanians. Like, can't make this shit up, man. So, I don't know. I had a bunch of other funny things to talk about, but I lost them. Yeah. Oh, I get to ask him, like, why were you appointed early? Like, well, did you know anything in advance? And of course he did, because he was appointed to the Rotowski case. And he didn't already automatically recuse himself, which again is like conflict. He should have recused himself on that. So I mean, literally, there's like a fucking disqualification trap everywhere the dude wants to step. And he can completely, as a judge, he can completely and illegally rule how he wants, and I'll have to take it up on appeal, which that means I have to go to jail. And unless I have the only way they let you appeal during your trial is if we'll immediately end that trial. And even then, I've already tried that a couple times to have him rewrite things so that I could do that. And he just, again, didn't write any orders, didn't make any orders the entire time he's been appointed to this case, just to facilitate the fraud even more. So they're not gonna, if they want to push this through, they can. And then I'll have to appeal it from jail. I was like, well, you could have just, not done that in the first place and messed up. But then the appeals court, they're gonna have to hear my appeal. And they're the superior court, the circuit superior court for us, and they already hid the Rutowski appeal for all that fraud they had going on over there. They already completely ignored it. And then you have the Supreme Court, Chief Justice Max Baer, who's appointing this fixer pedophile protecting judge over both of our cases because all the other judges in the counties recused because of my coverage of the real estate and throwing Chomo case racket. I mean, it is that bizarre. It's brought to you by Pennsylvania. So moving on, and I'll open it up. Oh yeah, and you can see I linked the videos down below. So the first video that Senator Fulmer pops up in, and he's tied up in all this stuff, is the police scandal video. It's got Epstein's face on it. It's kind of slow. I had with my old software, so I made it funny as I could. So it might be a little slow by my modern standards, but it's comical. And then I actually went to the Pennsylvania State Police Station and reported this, like how they lost the only physical evidence of that child molestation case. I went and reported that to there. It's called police retaliation for reporting police pedo scandal. And they ignored it, and then they followed, because I had my dad drive so I could film and talk smack. And but they took the bait, man. They followed me out and conducted a retaliatory stop. And I'm just filming blah, blah, blah. And this is me reporting that pedophile scandal to him. So there it is again. And I'm very, very critical, highly critical of pedophiles and pedophile protectors again. And this is stuff that I do and is on the record. And here's this judge having been very preferential to pedophiles in Pennsylvania. So that's another motion to recuse. I can ask him, is this going to influence, is this going to influence your judgment? You go, Try to keep a straight face. And the great thing is I don't have to, because all they have is stenographer report. So it'll just be I don't know. I have to talk to my stenographer ahead of time and be like, yo, you got to be ready for some funny stuff. How you got to think about how you're going to enter this on the record. All right. So, anyway, what was I getting? Noting these notorious. Okay, that's it. And, oh, yeah, all of this is on the court record. So, I actually serviced them this on Friday, but the courthouse was closed, so I put it in the Dropbox. So, they're learning this, watching it with you right now, how many traps they stepped in. And, again, I said, I went over some of the traps so we can, get this guy to choose to walk into whichever one he wants to. He can call it off now, or he can continue to make himself look bad, and we'll have the record and the proof of it, and that will make it even better for the book and the channel. So, again, he can choose what he wants to, and if he wants to pursue this and hide all this stuff from the record, just like he did in the Rutowski case, you better believe there's going to be a lot more of these tricks coming from this guy with two thumbs, Counselor Kangaroo, man. You can't be king of the kangaroo court if you don't bounce around like a clown a little bit, So I take that very seriously. So anyway, that's it. The pretrial hearing is scheduled January 5 at 10 a.m. This Wednesday. And I put below in other posts and stuff to contact the clerk of courts on what their attendance procedures are, because they change them for everybody involved individually. And it's it even says that. It's even in the new order, they leave it up to not writing it and be oh, it's an interpretation up to the individual office. Well, I asked them, and the individual office refused to respond. So go ahead and ask them for me, or for yourself. I was going to post it down below, but just go ahead and call up Adams County Court Administration. I'll link that again down below. And then trial, Trial is still scheduled for January 31st at Adams County. So who knows? Well, I wouldn't set your flight calendars yet because there's this disqualification stuff. But however, just like Judge Baden-Spocker forced through all this other stuff, if he wants to, he can just do it. So it might just, he'll break all kinds of procedure and just do it anyway, just to get me to go to jail. But we're gonna have enough of we're gonna be able to tell a book about it. You know, right? That's nothing great's ever been accomplished without sacrifice. And they pissed me off. They drew a line. I'm not stopping. What's up, Robert Lawler? What up? So I guess I'm ready. That's it. I'm done. It only took me 25 minutes. So sorry, guys. So let me open it up. Clay, previous video had all the info on how to get in touch with them to attend. Yes, thank you, Clay. Questions, y'all. Questions. I will question until my phone yells at me because it's like an old iPhone. I still haven't upgraded. They took my 11. Uncle Antimatter. You can contact me under the About tab or like my email on this channel, but it's like, you know, hacked. So they're going to read everything. And again, I don't condone violence or any of that stuff. So please don't be bringing that like kind of attention to my channel and just give them a reason to shut me down. So this is how to detect corruption in your local area. And are you still against donations? Cryptid Wonder. Yes. No, I don't do any donations. For twofold. One, I don't want it to ever look like I'm doing this for any money. I'm doing this for justice. And it is a very egotistical thing because they did it to me and that they made me draw a line. However, I'm using that motivation to document how I went about in these past 3 years of this, building a network. We always talk about that, and building a team. You're gonna have to find disaffected individuals. They'll bring you the evidence, but again, just like me, they'll be suppressed. So anyway, it's been my journey to document it along the way. And then hopefully somebody who's like good at film and documenting can come pick it up. Because I'm actually a much better writer than film. This film thing, I had to kind of figure out the pace of it. I've been watching a lot of YouTube documentaries. Like I really like Simon Whistler, man. I don't know. Just like listening to a British guy talk it makes you sound like you're learning things. Say boy, cartoon bus is fun. I'm going to email. Okay. Yeah. All right. You can email me. Question for the channel right now. Mention the bike. Okay. Yes, I got it at the end of my live cast last time that didn't go live, and that is I'm getting local support finally. And it's through having Carrie, the mom in our network. There was my Carol Baskins, and it has all her crazy stuff going on in the courts that we network all the moms with and everything. She is a member of the Pennsylvania Bikers for Justice, and they're a great organization. They bring light to a lot of causes that are ignored by your typical, like, hey, pay attention to this. And they're amazing folk. I have their other links. I'll put it down. They court watch. They do a lot of things for the community. They escort moms back and forth to court to make sure they're protected. They stop bullying. They're worried about what's going on in the schools, and they'll support parents, over the crazy boards. And then Caden's Law, that was I think is one of the amazing examples of what they do. And it was a four quote unquote, it was a bill, quote unquote, for child protection, but all it did was wrap it up in the system, and it was illegal and it was awful. And these guys went and guys and gals, excuse me, they grabbed up and they went out and they spread the word about how this is not a good bill for our children, and they did the hard wrong. They did the hard right, and we're a voice for it. And that's how I first heard about them. So thank you, Pennsylvania Bikers for Justice. What's up, Clay? Thanks, bro. Thank you, bro. Appreciate y'all, the process. Are you doing interviews on other channels? Yay and nay, man. I've done like a bajillion interviews, but like unless I get some crazy interaction cop video, like it doesn't go well on YouTube, man. YouTube is not a great audience for kind of what I'm doing right now. Like the documentary series, yes, you can, but it's not like a self-documentary series. Like it'd be great to do like, maybe a week episode on my case and then a different case. So like getting as far into it as mine is not a great really medium for YouTube, especially as especially as intricate as the law has to get, and so it'd be better for other documentary formats, like people who seek those, and or books, and that's what we're working at. Curious George, up anything can be used, misused, spun, actual events. You're right, you got it, man. You know it. It's disinformation, misinformation works both ways. Questions, questions, questions. I don't have any questions popping up. You're awesome. Thank you, Rachel. Likewise, love your videos. Hope you're able to beat the conspiracy court. Lots of love. Thanks, hon. Appreciate it. You too. Where's DPN Rogue Nation, Preston, New Hampshire? Yeah, man, I talked to all these guys, and then like they only end up get wrapped up into like some other crazy crap. Yeah, they're awesome. Disorderly Product News is my bro, man. Like he's got so much on, but I'm telling you, it's so weird being a creator on this side and knowing how important info is to get out, but you publish it on YouTube and it goes flat because people generally go on YouTube for like how-to videos or like kids watching toys or like old stuff, or like it's not the medium for like this kind of corruption exposure and stuff. And if you do, you need marketers to get it out to other platforms and blah 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 and get picked up and all this. And meanwhile, you're fighting all the suppression, and that's again the shadow ban. You guys saw that Wednesday. So, man, I somebody had one. Somebody had a good, yeah, Reddit been kicked off there. I had a banned. When you finish Pennsylvania, you should tell stories like Mr. Ballin. Ha, thanks, man. Yeah, I love Mr. Ballin. The first time I watched an episode, I was like, it's just got telling stories. What? And then, like, he's a really laid back dude. He tells really good stories, and they're really interesting, man. He had me hooked, dude. I'm one of those guys, man. This is pretty funny. He's a good dude, yeah. Yeah, oh man, I'm class clown. I tell jokes too, dude. Like, but like literally, they're just funny stories because I don't have a lot of money, man, but I am rich in experiences. I tell you that. Like, these two eyes have seen some things for themselves. Reddit's trash now. Yep, you got it, Uncle. You know it. Yeah, they completely shadow banned me off of there and then kicked. It was working too well. I was getting in front of too many people. It's working too well. Jason, been watching for them years. It seems like yes. Thanks, brother. I know who you are. Yeah. Yeah, it's come a long way, gotten a lot better, and the story's better. And I swore, I'm glad, thank you, Jason, for reminding me. I swore I would never de-evolve into just sitting here and talking with you guys. I wanted to have material and to be interesting and engaging, and that's why I spent all those times on all that time on that like 5 to 8 minute videos, because it's comical and tells a story. It's gonzo fashion. I'm a big Hunter S. Thompson fan who wrote Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. You know, my original title for that Triple Lindy thing was the Adams County courts are decadent and depraved. But it's like I'd be just trying to jump on his coattails too much because I love Hunter and he's definitely inspired me. But you know, I'm not him and I'm not trying to mirror him. Who he was also a veteran. And then I love Hemingway. Hemingway was a veteran. He saw some stuff and came back, and he liked to go fishing and whatnot. And down in Key West, these are all kindred spirits. And I love Vonnegut. I love Kurt Vonnegut. And as I've gotten older, I've gotten to be able to understand him. I've always liked him and his zaniness. Slaughterhouse-Five, man, Cat's Cradle. This is a bonkers, man. They will break your mind. So I love these guys. They're veteran authors because they've had life experiences. And yeah, the process, yeah, get the vets involved. I have the vets involved. Remember when I went to the Veterans Day event last year at the American Legion? I tried to ask them for help and they kicked me out. It turns out, not only are they all cops and complicit in it and all that, but it turns out District Attorney Brian Sinnott, who hid my stabbing for his buddy, is the son of the American Legion up there. And like they use that as like a power center of like all their other little groups. Like he's in the Eagles and I don't want to go into saying like, you know, who this guy's family has people in the Eagles, but anyway, that's why I got shut out up there, you know. And then I had video of the sheriff like ignoring my criminal conspiracy complaint and getting stabbed, and he's a veteran and he's ejecting me from the Veterans Day event at the Legion, and I'm a member to bid this. And then 2 months later, his office conspires to all these charges on me. So it's kind of strange right there, and I get into that in the Triple Lindy. But anyway, more questions. Who else got questions? Boxers. Nah. Read DMT and the Soul of Prophecy by Rick Strassman. Uncle, I'm not going to be able to remember that right now. You have to send it to me in a message. The dictionary, Embres, Pennsylvania. Yeah, Leon Sills, like, Yeah, in the Triple Indy court motion, I've had like a good Adams Pennsylvania rep I've been sitting on for a while. But it's the Adams County Apple Bottom. Let me try that again. Adams County Apple Bobbin Cousin Fornicators. That line's in there. It's pretty good. I read The Cat's Cradle on acid. Oh my, how'd you manage that, man? Rachel, hey, thanks, hon. What else? Who we got? Who do we have here? Hey, was it was it the Scottish one, or was it somebody was writing down questions to ask me when this happened? Are we really out of questions? I can't believe this. The Maple Bob and Jeans. Oh yeah, yeah. Until they start falling out of them, man. Yeah. Latin Indian, what's up, homie? Brian Jones, were you a sapper? No, I'm not tab, man. I was in a sapper company, but just never got around to it. I wasn't even in 5 years. I like went to Korea and was all pissed off. Like, cause I watched when I was a senior in high school. I watched the second plane smash into the Twin Tower. Cause like in English class, we rolled out the big old tube television and like watched, cause one had already hit the first time, and then it hit the Pentagon, and I live right outside DC when I was a kid. So it was like, oh my God, we are under attack. And that's what got me out the door and enlisted. And then go through basic, blah, 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 gonna go mess with some bombs and my IEDs and all that stuff. And I get stationed in Korea, and I'm like crying. I'm like, the war's gonna be over, brr. So you had to do a year there. So I came back and got in with a unit that was headed right over, and then I did my 1 year and didn't physically last capable through that. So came back, and in less than 5 years, I was in and out, man. But yes, no, I was in a sapper company. I was not tabbed. Uncle Heavy, hi from the UK. Happy New Year, brother. Appreciate it. Cryptic, one day, like to collab story, a fiction writer, spin-off series, a character like me. Thanks, man. This flattering. I just stick around for the book. I mean, yeah, I'm up for collabs and talking and whatnot. But right now, I really have to stay focused on my case because I'm my own lawyer and YouTuber and all this marketer. Oh man, I can't. I'm glad. Thanks for asking. I wanted to share this with you on my last live stream where I showed up to court so that they couldn't Ruby Ridge me when they stayed everything. Hey, Tori, what's up, hon? Glad to see you. Thanks for showing up. Brad said, Kurt Vonnegut. Oh man, I lost my train of thought. Oh, when I showed up, so I was my own lawyer. I was my own investigator. I was my own YouTuber. I was my own marketer. I was my own, like, everything in there. I felt like the Jackie Moon of YouTubers. I was like balancing everything and then trying to get on other people's Reddit and get on Mr. Paul and what's going on. So the tribe, what's up, brother? Hey, nice to have you here, man. Finally, yeah. The notifications are going crazy. Anyway, sorry. The whole thing. Pinky, what's up, brother? Who's playing me in the movie? I don't know. Could we get Joe Exotic sprung from jail? Or can I do Joe Exotic? I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, that was my story. That was my story. Any other questions? I felt like Jackie Moon. Can all that be done if you're broke? Well, I'm gonna document it. Oh yes, thanks. Okay, earlier you were asking, like, I don't want to take money because I want it to look like Jason. Hold on to that thought, bro. I don't want it to look like I'm doing this for money or blah blah blah. But in addendum to that, Jason, highlight and copy that paste. I'll get to you, man. In addendum to that, I think it opens me up for a lot of retaliatory civil cases. So that's again why I don't do that. And the whole point is basically me. Again, like I said, it's you got to network at this, but it's me with my limited resources and show what I did and how I did it so that other people can go do it. You know, there's so many people. Like, my story is just one of dozens just in our county. Right? It's just, I have it well documented and it's pretty zany and entertaining. But it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And that's why we need this change. And it's going to happen at the grassroots level. I am not going to come to your county and do this. I can't. I can't go to every county in the United States. I'd have to go and do this. I'd have to every corrupt one. But I'd have to live like 1,500 years, and I don't. I want to go homestead and have my dog have something to guard. You know, that's what would make us happy. Thanks, Tori. Gotten further than most. Tori's one of us, but out in Cali. Thanks, Tori. Yes, it's great having you here, and hopefully you can get a little victory out of this. But my thing is, I want to show how I did it, document it, get it out there, and show other people they can do it too, and how I did it. If you didn't know, I was an instructor. After I got out from being a combat engineer and all that, I went to school on counterterrorism and national security studies and blah, 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 and all this other government crap, right? Just like learning how to think like they think. And then went out and applied it. And for a long time, I was a trainer of a whole bunch of people. So I got to, I don't know, what was I getting at that? Oh, I want to train people how to do this. There you go. Bang. Too easy. A remote tour in Korea was in Kusan. You were in Kusan? President now what it's made out to be crooked circus, but thought counts. Precedent is not, I don't know. I didn't get you curious, George. I didn't get that one, man. It was shot over my head. All right, Clay, who we got? Would you serve again if you could? It's one of those things that's like, you can't look back and rewrite history. I don't have any regrets. I wouldn't change a thing on what's happened with my life. You know, would I suggest, would I want my kids to go serve? No, I don't want them to, but if they wanted to, I'd do my best to like nudge them in other pursuits. But if that's something they want to do, you know, whatever. I support them in that. And again, I wouldn't be where I am without having seen the stuff. And that's, again, well, thanks for the tie-in with the veteran authors. Is because when Kurt Vonnegut came back, he was actually a socialist. And when I was a young soldier reading him and a big fan of him, and I learned this, were you able to call the chick on the stand? They're going to rule on that. The judge is going to hide it, Tori. I totally lost it. See, that's why I can't answer questions while I'm like in a story, man. My brain only has one track, and it just passed. I don't know. That seemed like a really interesting story I was going to tell, but it's gone now, and I'll take more. Thanks, Tori, and thanks for helping, buddy. What do we got? Who we got a next question? Uncle Heavy, man, you guys sent me that. Preferentially protected pedophiles? You get it with the question. Kurt, DD, what's up, DD? How you doing, homie? What you been up to? Good to see all y'all. Are you able to depose these corrupt servants? Okay, on the time that I should have been deposing these people and getting all this stuff on the record, I spent disqualifying Judge Maslin. Because he was just going to hide it, just like Judge Maidenspacher is installed now. And now that I have enough that I'm happy to go to court with, now I'm just like throwing out traps. Now I'm just throwing out traps to engineer it to get to where I want to go. So I have at least I have enough. I have that comfort to fall back on, because that triple Lindy motion legitimizes everything I'm saying. Whether the judge will allow that or not to be heard in front of the jury, he's not going to. But now that I have that on the record, like that box is checked, and now I can go back to getting creative and writing more pages on this book. Like some of these motions I've had, I don't know if I posted them all or y'all have seen them, but like I motioned to stay when Maidenspacher got installed. I motioned to stay all proceedings so that I could go fishing down in Texas. And then like he sat on it forever because he never does approves any orders, makes any orders until you're in court. So I've been on probation, and the court was still going, and I wouldn't have been able to leave the state to go fish down in Texas, where there's fun fish to catch. And so I motioned, and then he just sat on it just like he does, and I missed the run, the bull red run. It's that giant fish that I have in my community page somewhere, and that's what I live for. I love to surf fish for redfish. I missed that, and so then I motioned to rescind or remove, strike a record. I don't even remember. The reason to go to Texas was they all swam away. So I have a lot of really funny motions in here. Curious. Cannon fodder wanted. Not thinking folks just follow orders. Yes. Anybody got any? Yeah, Orwellianized. George, you're absolutely right. It's like the worst of both worlds. Animal Farm and 1984, like put together. Any other questions? I mean, no, it's a shoot for it. Attorney General Christine Christ, are you watching? She's my type, man. It's just physically, I don't like nasty chicks. I don't think it lasts very long, but maybe I don't need a relationship to last very long. So, it could work out, especially, she's got a job and it's a nice couch I could stay on or something. I don't know. No, man, you're special if you would preserve this without blowing up. Yeah, DD, you're right. Oh, man. I was very perturbed when all this stuff went down, and I had to focus that energy into doing something about it because in my Cop Hides Murder video, it shows you where anybody, I sat down and did an analysis about how I'm going to get these fuckers. And if you respond in violence or threats or whatever, they're just going to engineer everything and throw you in jail and it'd be done. So you would have lost your fight. So again, and it doesn't work because, because of that. And you don't want it around you and your family and your kids and blah, blah, blah. So what we need is a bunch of grassroots people doing this, learning. Prosecutor, what's up, Rick? Yeah, you got that one. Prosecutor. It's like, hello, nurse. I love Animaniacs. And that's how I didn't disqualify her until too late. One, she sucked. She was just there to be a pretty face. And two, could you imagine looking at District Attorney Brian Sinnott this whole time? And anytime I read her, I'm like, oh, she's cute, man. It's like a good thing, It's like a positive. You gotta find the positives in things. What's up, Tori? LMAO. Yeah, hey, man, I love chicks with jobs and nice couches that I can stay on. And then when you get tired of each other after 6 months, because you find out who they really are, you can just bounce, man. Just mutual. That's what I tried to do with Crazy Pants. But she kept on breaking in the house, and then, they violated my probation for the DUI for that, to get me to plead out for that stuff. So anyway, any way to help get more press attention? No, man, I am so completely suppressed, and I don't have time or money to do the marketing thing anymore. So, I got y'all. Thanks. Yeah, and yeah, do collabs. Again, doing collabs with YouTube guys, especially in the auditing community, that's what their viewers want to watch. And these guys and gals that do this, they need watches to support themselves. So yes, they can pick up a cause, and DPN has done that, and San Joaquin Valley Transparency has done that, and John Felix has done that. But they still have to keep their stuff going, and it can't be like my channel. Talk to 1A audit, Uncle Israel, audit. Yeah, I've sent all these emails out to all these guys. I've done pre-interviews with all these guys. Yeah, I need people like y'all telling them to cover my stuff. And especially people who haven't carried their stuff on my channel. I have a lot of entertaining videos that bring them a lot of draws. My police interactions. Do real worlds are ending up in jail? Rick, I can't answer that. I know right now they are engineering it for me to go to jail. That's why they installed Judge Maidenspacher. That's why they wiped my phone. That's why I brought the triple Lindy of pretrial motions. I'm detailing real estate and bank fraud and submitting all the evidence. It's on the record, and I serve it to the Attorney General. Here you go. Here's this fraud that I was following for these courts, and here's where they changed the court policy to protect this fraud, and here's where they complete the fraud, and da-da-da. And the Attorney General goes, this isn't relative to your charges. I can't make it up, man. It's almost as bad as springing serial rapist Bill Cosby from jail, citing prosecutorial misconduct in the public's best interest. And that's brought to us by our Chief Justice, Max Baer. Okay, Violet Wings. Tyrant Hunter Studios covering corruption in the courts and judges. Hit them up for me. I'm also shadow banned, so my emails don't go out and don't get in front of people, so I could spend all day. I spend all my life. I know all these suggestions and all these people that get put in front of me, but then other people never hear them because I'm shadow banned, and y'all saw that in the live. So I know all these people exist now. I've hit them up with them for the past 3 years. I have to keep content going, and I'm my own lawyer. And even this is some awful talking video that I hate doing because it's great to catch up with y'all, and this is why I do them, is to catch up with y'all and to continue to tell the story. But I would much rather have that in a 8 to 12 minute, concise, funny, entertaining watching video, and then we'll all talk about it afterwards, you know? And I can do the live preview, but I don't have the time to do that right now. Rachel Murray, would be interesting to learn to be a prosecutor and learn from you. Might be a little hard as in Ireland as you might be a little hard as in here as in Ireland. I don't know. Yeah, but I would never be a prosecutor. I would never be in that position, just like I would never be a politician. I just would not want to pursue that with my life. And I'm too cause and effect. I don't like politicians. And prosecutors are just like elected politicians. You get your district attorney, and then what they do is they're elected and they have that good public front, and they have a bunch of peons underneath them. And they have those people to assign to do like the messed up stuff so that these guys, the DA can just not charge them for breaking the law. Like, even though they already have prosecutorial immunity, just as bad. And that's why Assistant District Attorney Miranda Blazek was getting sued for racketeering, for throwing me in jail twice for crazy pants, breaking in the house here twice, because she was protected by District Attorney Brian Sinnott. Like, she's extorting me, but he's telling her to, and he's like, don't worry about it. Like, I got your back. I'm going to do it. So it's all self-serving. And just again, like you see, like with them installing Judge Maidenspacher to protect pedophiles. So I'm looking at more time than what our state senator did for like 40 years worth of admitted to guilty charges. So Jason, what's up? Are you pro se side counsel? No, I'm pro se, man, all the way. I mean, I've had, you know, fans and people like give me tips and stuff that are great. And I really appreciate that. Keep them coming, man. Like, give me ideas, things to work on. So again, this is like our pursuit, and this is why I'm doing it in public. And yeah, I'm sure that Cronywealthers are, oh, you never do, you don't render your case in public, blah, blah, blah. Yes, there's a few things I'm holding on to. There'll be surprises and traps. But no, I'm just showcasing this corruption. I'm only here. No lawyer will touch it. That's how dirty it is. Tori, yep, you got it. You have lived it. Yeah. So what happens is, like, when you have a case like this, no legit lawyer will take it because they don't want to ruin their careers and everything and make all their lives harder. So it only funnels you to like cronies that will hide it. And that's every lawyer I've ever hired here. I actually did get through Pennsylvania. I did. So anyway, the bar forbids it, the tribe. Yes, you're right. I am absolutely trying this case like no other lawyer in their lives would. And they're ramp up the corruption and the retaliation every time. And I catch them in it. Luckily, you know, I'm not saying like I'm some awesome lawyer or anything. I'm just like reading the documents. And then on top of that, then they have the judge hide it. Then they have the courts hide it. Then they have the police hide it. So it's like all of them are working in concert for what's just obvious, like what's a stab wound, except they call that disorderly conduct, which is my follow-on charge for following this case. So they're literally trying me in the same courtroom for disorderly conduct for following them, charging one of their local cronies for stabbing me with disorderly conduct. It's so Pennsylvania, man. Spammers, yeah, lawyers don't do shit. DD, no seeming, sadly, they can only help with exposure. Yeah, I know. I've thought about that, hiring a marketing firm and all that. But again, like, I feel like I'm in a comfortable nook. Like, I can't be as hit as hard. Did you check out Alphonse's videos? Yeah, I've hit them all up, and I never hear back from him. I need people to hit him up for me. Next, Rachel, I just like politicians and maybe a defense attorney. No, man, I don't want to practice law. You know, a pizza delivery boy or gal, they provide a service to society. When you want a pizza and you're busy and you didn't think ahead and life is crapping on you and you need to feed your kids and you can't run out because you can't put the baby in the car because this other kid, blah, 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 whatever. You call up that pizza shop and you have somebody run you a pizza so you don't even got to leave your own dang house. Like, that's awesome. That's a service you pay for. That is, you know, it's not something necessarily like the pizza boy or gal created or like it's going to change humanity, but that's a service to humanity and that's why you pay for it. A criminal lawyer, like, they put their pants on and go to work and come home and take their pants off, and all they did was like make a bunch of lines on paper like bounce, but it's not even paper anymore. It's like all on a computer. So one of the big things I always used to get on, I spent a lot of time in like bush Africa and whatnot, and you'd find yourself. I love these conversations because they're so interesting. They open your mind. They'll break your mind repeatedly, and it's like what you have to explain to like indigenous people on what a lawyer is. So like, go to explain to some indigenous person what a lawyer does. All right, you go do that. Find out. It might break your freaking mind, man. It might break your freaking mind. But you know what? You can go tell him what a pizza boy is, and he'll be like, "All right, brings me a pizza. All right, what's a pizza?" You know, but at least they'll understand the concept. You know, and I'm not knocking all lawyers, but we need a revamp of our system. You guys love peds, and I missed. I don't know. So again, with the thing, you got everyone, all my true fans are always telling me, like they see all kinds of trolls in my lives, and I don't see one, man. I don't see one. It's filtered. Ian Peterson, James Madison Audits put out you can FOA Cam. Yeah, I don't have time, and they never do that. Yeah, my district is notorious for like outspending you. They'll gauge you. If you want to do a Freedom of Information Act request, they'll look at you and they'll be like, how much money do you have to blow on this? And can we keep it under wraps to keep it quiet? So, and then they'll just, right off the bat, they'll decide whether they're going to do it or not. And the courts will hide it. And then if they get recused, then they'll install Judge Maidenspacher to make pedophiles preferentially charged. So, yeah. Bro, what's up, Botro? Yo, what's up? I missed you, man. Yes. J-Man's Audits. All right, well, tell him what's up. All my stuff is open and free for people to, like, recast because it helps with getting the message and the marketing out there. Everything's free. Sick. Yes. You guys, we've been jacking for an hour. You got any, like, interesting more questions that you got for me? I've never seen American government as proselytized, just modern Paris rises. Yes, thanks for bringing that up. So for y'all, my friends overseas that aren't Americans, we had a period in the 50s from the Red Scare. It's called the McCarthy era, and it was when we were all afraid of the Soviets and all this other stuff. And so they weaponized that fear against us. And that was Senator Joseph McCarthy did that. But it was just like a witch hunt. It was just a witch burn. And then in addendum to that, you had the strong arm of the FBI under J. Edgar Hoover, which was one of the most corrupt dudes at the helm of that. And that's what I'm getting at, is what made it so possible, is that the FBI is so weaponized. And that's where we find ourselves today. If y'all thought like the feds were weaponized, oh man, I don't know if I could talk about this. And as it pertains to my case. But if y'all thought the feds were weaponized at like Ruby Ridge and whatnot, that was like a knee-jerk reaction to that kind of what happened back then. But we're actually even way worse in the McCarthy era with, as you guys saw, with all my shadow banning and whatnot. And literally the status quo right now in America is any scandal can go as far as it needs to go, whether it be Epstein getting, preacher bro, Botro, Epstein getting thrown out of jail because like the feds hid that the first time, and the second time it came around was only because it broke in public knowledge. And that's even a really interesting story on how that came around. They had to get like the anti-Trumpers and the anti-Biden people like taking pictures with like Epstein and then pit them against each other on Reddit. And like that's how it blew up and everyone found out about it, because there's pictures of Epstein with everybody, you know? And so anyway, they actually, because the news wouldn't report it. And if you go in and you watch these Epstein documentaries, they're even on Netflix, man. I think it's called like Filthy Rich. You'll see where like the FBI agents are interrogating these girls that they brought in to like bring other girls, get them in the pedophile scandal. And like you'll see them like, oh, if you testify against him, well, then that means you're complicit for aiding it. So like they're telling these 13-year-old girls that got burned and turned into this machine of pedophilia that they're going to get charged if they testify. And then you go and look at what happened with the gymnast, or with Ghislaine Maxwell. You know, like it had to take years to track her down and finally nail her for stuff, and we don't even know what the heck she's going to spin on. But anyway, that's the level of protection that they have. And you think You think it's crazy till it happens to you. You think it's crazy till it happens to you. And then you find out that, then you start wearing your foil hat and seeing all the other people that have foil hats and start having foil hat conventions. And you're like, holy smokes, man. Like, why isn't this in the news? Oh, the suppression. So what I was getting at is we just have a completely weaponized state. Every party, but both with President Trump and now with President Biden, everyone, both political extremes, everyone's so stratified, are crying that, oh, well, the FBI was weaponized to do this. Oh, the FBI was weaponized to do that. Well, like, shouldn't we be concerned that they're weaponized at all? Like, oh, it's okay because he did it. Like, that's not what they're there for, man. And that's exactly what it is. So what I was getting at is the status quo now is to just let the corruption ride until it breaks in the public news. And again, that's why we're so suppressed on everything and what we do here. That is now the status quo. It has to break in the news for them to do something about it. That's how the FBI hid all them American U.S. gymnastics gals, the Olympics team, getting raped for. They could have stopped like 130 rapes if they would have done something like the first time that they were forced, that people did too. And if you go and you read these articles, it's like all the girls in the gymnastics team were all talking about and interviewing these guys, and then they lied about it, that are federal agents, and they're still there. And this was all, they were suppressing this so that the agent in charge could get a spot on the Olympic team. Like, as far as I'm concerned, he stopped. He was liable. His job was to stop this from going on, and he didn't. So he's liable now for like the 90 sexual assaults that happened. And then if we held them accountable, like, Darledge, what's up, bro? These people at the top are corrupted. Congress falls in lines replaced. Yep. Yeah. Well, and if you go back in my old investigation video, the police scandal video, it's kind of old and kind of slow, but it goes into like how they work this from the grassroots level. Like, we have an economic council in town that just controls how all this is going to go. And it actually got started by a gal who like specializes in drawing federal loans to like develop areas. So she like had this great idea. She goes around and she like $650 million is brought to the Commonwealth. Going, starting programs and starting these economic councils that start these children and youth centers, that start bring in the local hospitals into the jails they're building to hold people into. And so they get everyone hooked on this development money and the developers and blah, blah, blah. And they charter a bank. Adams County National Bank is the one that they chartered, and that's the one that they use to conduct this real estate fraud. So they're all bankmen, they're all president members. All these people are all sitting on all these other boards, and you hear about this in public. It's all in the video. You hear about this in public, and you're like, oh, there's a great nonprofit. Well, it's actually your step by this. And then it turns out like one of the big staffers that's handing out these Marcy's Awards for victims' rights, she's a staffer for a super PAC, for an ultra PAC that runs the state together. They're a bipartisan ultra PAC. So they're just passing things out to their candidates to look okay, and they pay for that. And somehow that makes them money. So they're making influence through money to get preferential. I mean, it's corrupt from the bottom up, and it's engineered that way, and you're not allowed to know about it. Hashtag Joe Rogan. Yep, you know it, knowledge. He's showed me a lot of stuff, and that's because we're not so stratified. The greatest trick the magician ever did was convince the devil didn't exist. Kaiser Soze. But I went way off with that one. Sorry, guys. But they pit us against each other, and like they're robbing from all of us. Meanwhile, they're robbing from all of us. Like, if y'all have seen what Pelosi and them are all doing in Congress. I don't want to get political. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I did not want to. But it's corrupt from the top up. Like, okay, how about this for nonpartisan, apolitical? Like, Pelosi back in the day when Bush was president and Boehner were always going at each other at each other as speakers of the House, prospective speakers of the House of the parties. And they were always going at each other and couldn't stand it, blah, 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 blah. And meanwhile, Nancy Pelosi was like, representing California, which wants to legalize weed so bad, but the feds are like airdropping like assault troops onto the weed fields, growing a damn bud out of the ground. And meanwhile, Boehner's like, the big conservative, oh, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, Pelosi, who's representing the people that are growing the weed and trying to get the government off the back. She's not saying a word. Meanwhile, there's this Boehner guy who's like, God and country and blah, 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 and all this, blah, 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 blah. And like 20 years later, now she's, funneling all her funds to her. And Boehner is the spokesperson for like marijuana, like of like legalization of marijuana, a conglomerate to do that because that was a big industry to get into. So that shows their real motivations. They fought each other into each other's coat to make money. And I'm old now, so I remember some of this stuff. I have no president. Curious George, what do you mean? Anyway, that was a long monologue, and I'm getting past an hour here. So y'all hit me up with some more questions while you got me here. Tori, it's all about the money. You know it. You know it, and you wouldn't even think it. And it's so far convoluted that it's hard. You have to take real far back to see the picture of it. But like I'm saying, when they did all this development in our area, they built out the prison. So now they got to keep the prison staff. Well, the way they do that is they violate the crap out of people on probation, put everyone on probation, violate the crap out of them. And then they made like a special rule where they only have one revocation hearing a month. And if you're not there in that schedule that week, then you have to wait another till the next thing. So you have to wait 5 weeks. So both times that they threw me in jail on the same charges, both times they waited till like that 5 week mark. So they could keep me in jail as long as that, before I could even have a hearing about getting out of jail for being violated again while on probation. So it's a self-serving thing, and that's the way they keep the jails baloney full, and then they have the hospitals, which are contracted out to staff this over there. Dude, I'm telling you, it is so convoluted, connected, like you would never believe until you lived it. Of course, y'all on my channel for a reason, like children and youth services, how corrupt that is. Yeah, just these things that you would never believe. And I want to, that's okay, while we're preaching, while we're getting on it, y'all know, like not sociopath, I lost the word. I have the greatest point in the world and I can't even think of the word. Sociopaths. Yeah, sociopaths. All right, sociopaths. So that's a genetic condition that affects 10% of humans, like no matter what culture, what religion, where you're born. If you're a human, you have a 10% chance of popping out with like a different range of spectrum of what's sociopath. So if 1 out of 10 people is a sociopath, sociopaths like lie, cheat, steal, or conniving, gaslighting, all this other stuff. But they also seek positions of power, and they gloat over it like normal people like you and me would be like, oh man, I'd never do that to somebody. I would never be a judge and like hide pedophilia. Well, guess who's the people that seek positions of power? So then they get a whole bunch, like overrepresented sociopaths are overrepresented in these demographics, and then they work together. So and then they gatekeep anyone who's not a sociopath and play by the rules out. So it's actually pretty easy, and it takes time, and especially like in a small town like here. But it even happens like Disorderly Product News. He's dealing with it in Chicago, one of the most corrupt police boroughs in the nation. He's got some. I won't get into like what he's got going on, but there's a lot. There's a lot of suppression against him. Rachel Murray, was it beating all court cases? What would you like to do? I'd like to take the time to, in the background, do the classes and everything, like, do real well on how I did this and document it all. But then eventually, like my number one thing, I'm a dual resident Texan. I want to get back down there to start my homestead up again. I had to pack everything up years ago and go vagabond homeless. So I'd like to restart my homestead again down there and take my dog and give him something to guard with like a couple longhorns, and then drive to the beach when the conditions are nice. So that's what I want to do a homestead. Promise that they're not interdimensional beings and demons. I missed it, knowledge. Dang, I'm sure it was good, man. It's pretty to the tribe. Vicious. What's up? Any more questions while y'all are here? There's 73 of y'all here. Appreciate it, y'all. When are you doing? I can't answer that one. I can't project for that one. Good question. Thanks. Hey, Happy New Year. Thanks, Tori. Happy New Year. Thanks, Knowledge. Appreciate it, homie. I deserve professorship for this effort. Yeah, it'd be great to get like one of them honorary law degrees. It'd be great. Get Phoenix University to give me one for like marketing potential. He's gonna make money from this prosecution. Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully, thanks, Bo. Yeah, I don't want to. I would love for it to catch and show people what really goes on, and why you would never believe, this could happen to Pinky. Any chance to live stream on the 5th? I don't hold out in court. No, man, they're not going to allow that. Go ahead, call them and ask them, email them. There, I got the email, I got the link. Okay, question. There are 3 Americans. Who are they? I missed it. Any other bigger channels following your story, digging in? Yay, nay, man, when it goes, yeah, when it goes some far out. You know it, Knowledge. You've been here for a lot of it. I appreciate the help, homie. Yeah, thanks, y'all. I'm not signing off, but I really do appreciate y'all help. Here on the live and getting the story out, and I've gotten a lot of help and a lot of networking done through y'all. So I really appreciate that. That's how it's gonna go. Just like I was telling you earlier, the status quo is now just let the corruption ride until you get caught and it gets big enough and they have to do something about it. I sent it to a few. Thanks, Gutch guy, having fun. That's what's his name in Breaking Bad? He's skipping my name now. His bad name is it? Maybe you just need a manager or publicist, write a book. Yeah, Knowledge. I was talking about it earlier. Yeah, this is all going into a book. Do you do a podcast tour? Yes, you're right. Yeah, that's my next. I'm gonna be writing all these motions and putting them together in a book. We can link to the evidence. It'll be interactive and whatnot. So that's why I've been writing my motions like this, because they're gonna jail me anyway. They're gonna jail me or they want to anyway. Fuck it. Yeah. That's what I think. That's how I'm marketing it too, because it's gonna be interactive, so you can look at the evidence and play sleuth, and then it's funny and it's true, and it's making fun of Pennsylvania pedophile protectors. So it's all gonna be a lot of fun. So they can be, they're just. And as bad as it is, if I get over 2 years, I'm going to state pen, and they're just going to have some gang off me. That's just what's going to happen. So at least we'll have the material people to put together. Shit's getting real. I know 15 just in a bang. We're going to Agenda 21. I don't know that. Plug me. I love comedy. Who was that? Oh man, who was that? Who wanted the plug? I didn't catch the name. Can you do some? Hey, you wanted some Tony Two time, huh? What's up, Bobo's always asking. Jason, yes, noticing Arizona's real bad. No rights. Oh man, I have to stick local. I don't know anything. Happy New Year, Knowledge. God bless, brother. Appreciate all the help you've done for me. Yeah, I don't care. They want to make them. They drew a line in the sand with me, man. I'm taking a stand. That was the whole Leonidas thing back in the day. That's what that was about. I used to go to the Lincoln Square and in my Leonidas get up and try to raise attention. But then anyone that would talk about it on Facebook would get banned and spammed, and then I was kicked off Facebook. So it's been a journey, and I appreciate y'all being here for it. I'm putting the process on my channel for others to see how to change the law. Change is done at local level. You got it. That's it. You got to do it at your local level, because I don't have a voice in your jurisdiction. Way to go now. Thanks, Rachel. Appreciate it. Happy New Year. Isaac Forbes, thanks, homie. Appreciate it, Bo. You won't get time for this. Jake God is with you. Yeah, man, I've stumbled out of some crazy things, so I've just learned to Colt caliber here. Colt 45 caliber. Yes, anyway, I've learned I'm gonna stumble out of these things. These criminals are gonna hire mercs. Be careful. Yeah, I know. That's what happens if I get more than 2 years. That's why Judge Maidenspacher sentenced the senator to less than 2 years, because in Pennsylvania, if you get 2 years or over, you go straight to the state pen, and that is bad. They have gangs in there that will kill you for drugs allowed to have the drug racket in the yard. That's how bad these things are. Yeah, straight up, man. What's up? Any other questions? Nothing? Do you have people? Do the people meet on the Great Plains? Do the people meet on the Great Plains? If that was a shout out, it went so far over my head. So I'm about to wrap this up. If you don't get involved, who will? Just a guy having fun. You know it. You got it, man. If you're a victim, you don't get involved. Yeah, victim, not a warrior. You got it, man. Taking a video, cops, donuts, filled with my baby girl. Okay, fake you. Can you hear the color of the wind? You Hatsuhara, man, with them good questions, man. All right. Thanks for adding. That was great. You're only scratching the surface. I know, and it's at the local level, and it shows how tied up it is throughout the whole thing, and that's why I'm being suppressed. Well, it's and oppressed people have never been oppressed forever in human civilization history that we know about. So, as long as you keep going towards your goal, you'll get there. And that's what this country was started on, and the history we're not allowed to know is what kept it that way for a long time until it got changed. We're not allowed to know that. Did y'all know in America there was no like permanent income tax to like 1910? And when people did it, there was rioting in the streets, and that personal income tax was only 0.5% of those above the wealthy line, not above the poverty line, above the wealthy line, 0.5%. And Americans rioted it in the streets because they're like, you're the government. You don't own 5% of my labor. And even the normal folk did too, because even, peasants, the cobblers and farmers and stuff, they weren't in the upper echelon of that tax bracket, but they still rioted because it's so anti-American. Like, that's assuming the state owns 5% of your labor. That's exactly what we were fighting against the communists in Russia, except, okay, now we get to choose what we want to do to donate our labor. Like, same thing. We just get the feint of choice, And so anyway, that's, again, I got way off. That was our history books getting rewritten. Keep fighting. You're making more of a difference. Thank you, Mary Swanson. Appreciate it. They all making the difference, helping it out. Want to create good energy in life. Got to embrace evil. Okay. Anybody else? I'm about to wrap this up. We're good in questions. America. You got it, knowledge. I believe in capitalism. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, You know it. It all starts with ourselves and where we spend our money. We vote with our money. Tribe, I missed that. Sorry. Creeping. Yep. Socio, commie, McCarthy, exposer, witch hunt. We're here. We're living it. We're in it. We're not allowed to see it. And that's a part of the suppression of the channel. All right. I'm saying goodbye. When the people talk about stuff hitting the fan, they always ask when they're going to bug out. I'm afraid I need to bug out together quick. Yeah, man, that's a whole different can of worms that I'm not getting into on this channel. I don't know. I like catching fish, man. I like catching fish and mushroom hunting. Make a video and share with all these little bombshells. They're all in there. You can use them all. Thanks. You're brushing off my messages too quickly. Uncle Nehemiah, what's up? Would you beat Jake Paul? I don't know who Jake Paul is, man. I've heard people say that. Bonafide, thanks, homie. Thanks for the inspiration. Be safe. Thanks, guy. Having fun. Thank you for the support, man. You had some good ones in there. You have rights. Cops have duties. Don't act like they need rights. Exercise them. Yep. DD, peace. Appreciate it. All right, I'm wrapping up. I'm not taking another one. Like, my phone's dying anyway. So, anyhow, thanks, y'all. Much love. What's my favorite tribe? You had to ask me about mushrooms. You know that was a one way to pull my cord again. Hatsuhara, thanks. Happy New Year. Likewise. Thanks for being along for the ride. So my main mushroom I eat most of the time is chicken of the woods. That's a Leptorus. All the different ones. And I like those because not only do they taste like chicken, they're very prevalent around here. I have a lot of hardwoods, but they freeze well after you like cook them in fat and chop them down. And I vacuum pack them. It's like, oh man, I should show you guys my freezer. I shouldn't, because then people will like break in there. Portobello knowledge, really? Portobello? That's like the most boring. That's just like a giant baby Bella mushroom. Anyway, so I do chickens mostly. They're real prevalent on the hardwoods around here. Yeah, they're delicious. Heisenberg, thanks. That's right, Jason. But then last year, I've gotten to know a lot around here because I'm a transplant around here. Again, dual citizenship, dual residency. So like I got into hens really big last year. I got like 200 pounds of hens in like 10 days because a big southern hurricane rain drenched us right time of year. But yeah, chanterelles. I found a couple of chanterelle patches. That's what I was getting at. I'm really proud of those. Peace, Benjamin. Peace. All right, y'all. Hey, I'm wrapping up. Much love. Thanks, Bowen. The way to end on a high note. Zing. Gotcha. Hey, much love, y'all. Thanks for being here. I hope everyone got to ask their questions. Much love, Pinky. Thank you. Appreciate it. It's Alan. Thanks. Yeah, but bought by CIA. Yeah, So we're done wrapping this up. Thanks, y'all. Much love. Appreciate it. Y'all take care. Thanks for being here. Pre-trial hearing. Get in touch with court admin. I'll post it below. It's Wednesday, 10 o'clock. And then we'll have the stenographers report about all these questions with the judge and his pedophile protecting stuff. So look forward to it. We'll keep ahead of these guys. 2 steps ahead. Much love, y'all. Thanks.